Hi, welcome to This Week in Ames. I'm Susan Guiazda. On today's show, we're going to look ahead to winter snow plowing. Well, my guest today is Corey Mellies, Operations Supervisor with the City of Ames and the Public Works Department. Corey, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's that time of year again to be discussing snow. Snow is not the only thing that you do in your area of expertise, but snow is kind of on everybody's radar right now. What are some plans for clearing snow this season?
This year we'll kind of be in the same usual mode that we are. Now we've got our trucks ready. We know at any time during the month of November there's a chance of snow. So we have our trucks ready to have the wings and plows mounted, but we're still doing street work. We'll continue that as long as weather allows, but also be ready to switch gears and go to snow. This year we have added a new truck, so we think we'll be able to change a few of the things on how we operate to provide better service.
So November is really not too early for snow. We've gotten measurable snow in November in the past?
Yes, and usually what we look at is about the end of October, we'll start getting our trucks ready to make sure we're ready for snow in case we do get an event. Usually they're not the bigger events, but it can happen. We obviously are worried about kind of slick conditions.
And interesting, you said you're wrapping up projects while you're preparing for the next season. What are some projects you're wrapping up right now?
We're still actively street patching. Asphalt usually doesn't close till about Thanksgiving, the asphalt plant, so we still get asphalt, still patching, doing concrete work as the weather still allows, so we're still actively doing that. Now we've geared up doing the leaf backing in the gutters and also street sweeping, trying to keep the streets clean, and we'll also transition to doing intake work, inspections of intakes and cleaning of intakes.
Well, let's talk about leaves for a minute. As I was driving home from work the other day, clearly somebody had raked all their leaves into the street. It was so obvious. I'd never seen it before. Not allowed.
No, that is not allowed in the City of Ames. When we leaf vac, it's only leaves that have naturally fallen in the gutter. If our crews see that, they'll probably put a door hanger on that house letting them know that is not allowed. There is a fine for that if we find that you are doing it purposely, and we do that just because everybody's responsible for their own leaves. We're just trying to keep the gutters clear.
Now, there are cities that do rakeouts into the street, but Ames is not one of those cities.
No, we're not one of those cities, and we do have the free days that people can take advantage of to get rid of their leaves during this time.
And that last free day is coming up at the end of November, and of course there's more information on our website about that. As you transition then from sort of construction to maintenance, what are some other things that you ask residents to do to make the plowing easier this season?
Yeah, one of the biggest things for us is we do have our dedicated snow routes, which are signed with red and white signs that talk about during the snow ordinance there's no parking allowed, and that's to make, it's usually our main arterial routes to make sure those can be plowed and are the safest streets we have.
So if you're moved to a new home or a new residence, you need to go out in the street and look and see if you...
Look for the signs or go to the website and look at our map. Any street marked in red is a dedicated snow route, and so when the ordinance goes into effect, you could be towed if you're parked in those streets.
Is there an easy way to remember snow routes?
I would say it's usually your main arterials. If you think about where your 4-lane roads or your major traffic is, and then just, when you're driving, pay attention to your road. As you drive in, you'll see that red and white sign.
If you live on a side route, do you tend to live on a snow route?
Yes, side routes are usually always snow routes, so that's a good way to remember that also. You can check our map, and you can certainly give us a call or email us to make sure too. And then, but beyond those routes, any road that you don't park on is going to help us remove snow faster. Lets us get to the curb. We don't have to leave the pile of snow next to a car that has to be removed later. So anything people can do to get cars off streets, we know that's not available in every location, but the more you can try to maybe park in your drive and then move it after we've been through, it'll definitely help our time and how good we do it.
So if I'm a typical resident and I usually park on the street and I live on a snow route, you're suggesting moving into the driveway, or where else can I move my vehicle?
Yeah, if you're on a snow route, you might want to look at, and you don't have parking available, you can maybe look at a side street so you're not at risk for being towed. But if you do have driveway space available, that's obviously the first place to go. Even if you move it after the snow's finished, and you can tell it's been plowed after the snow is finished, then you can go back and park on that road.
Now, I know in some communities there's simply no parking on the streets during certain months. That is not the case in Ames.
No, the snow ordinance has to go into effect, and so we will usually put it into effect 6 to 8 hours before it goes into effect, and so we can't tow until the time we state, and then it doesn't end until the snow has stopped and we've plowed curb to curb.
So you'll get notification out that snow ordinance is going to go into effect at a certain time,
Yes.
and then you notice the snow falling,
Yes.
and then you need to make sure your vehicle
Yes.
is removed
Yes.
from
Once
the route.
it's in effect and we have 2 inches of snow on the road, then that's when towing will begin.
And ticketing.
Yes, you also get a ticket and towed potentially during those times.
So obviously the city doesn't want to see that happen, and I know that we've made lots of efforts in the past to decrease that. How do people know if the snow ordinance is in effect? You mentioned just simply the snow.
No, we've done a great job. We have a press release. We also do Facebook and Twitter. We're reaching out to kind of hopefully some of our partners that can get the word out are kind of pushing that information out as well.
I know
Like
Iowa State's a big
yes,
help.
yep. It's
Channel 12.
Channel 12, it always runs on the bottom when it's in effect. So there's lots of places to look, and we're always looking at ways to increase that to get the word out. We don't want to tow people, but we need to make sure the roads are safe.
Well, and again, simple message, keep your eye to the sky. If it's snowing, you need to move your vehicle.
Yes.
Great. What are some other things that you can do if you feel like your street isn't plowed correctly, or the sidewalks look bad? Are there ways to contact Public Works and let them know?
Yes, we have phone numbers for both that you can find on the website, and we also have emails, snowstreets@city.ames.ia.us for complaints about streets or questions, and then snow walks with the same ending email that allows you to, if you give us an address, we will check that sidewalk out and make sure it's shoveled.
And again, Facebook and Twitter are a great place to let us know
Yes.
about
Yep.
areas of concern.
Yeah, so we try to put as many ways as possible for people to reach us. Facebook and Twitter are great ways to let us know about any concerns or questions as well.
That immediacy factor is great with Twitter. I know that we had gotten messaging last year about intersections that seemed icy or sidewalks that weren't cleared, and that's a great way to alert Public Works Department and allow you guys to do the research that you need to do.
Yes, I think with those, as long as we kind of get either an address or a good location, we'll definitely put those on our lists to make sure they're taken care of.
Okay, so you talked about knowing if you're on a snow ordinance. Let's talk about whose responsibility it is to clear the walks. Now, we know the streets are the cities, but who is responsible for clearing the sidewalks?
The property owner is responsible for clearing the sidewalks. We have a ordinance section that talks about removing the snow. I believe it's 10 daylight hours after the snowfall has stopped. And so it's their responsibility to make sure it's completely clear of snow and ice. We're a complaint-only basis, so if we get a complaint, we will check it out. If it's not done, we'll either post a door. With rentals, we've been doing emails now to let them know we have a complaint, and then we'll check it the next day. If it's not done, then we'll hire a contractor to have it cleared.
Now, does the city keep the bike paths clear in the winter?
Yes, our Parks and Rec department clears the bike paths, so they handle all that. We coordinate with them occasionally on bike paths that maybe are behind the curb with snow storage and things, helping them keep those clear. And Iowa State does some, so people, if they have questions about who's responsible, they can certainly contact us, and we can work with Iowa State to make sure we pass on the information.
And I know the Ames Fire Department asks that people locate fire hydrants in advance and try to keep those ones clear.
Yes, it's important that, especially when we get large amounts of snow, that the hydrants are clear in case there was a fire, so our fire department can access those and be able to hook on.
So just some statistics. How many snow events do we typically have in a snow season?
We usually see, I think, 15 to 20 events. We've averaged probably around 40 inches of snow the last few years. We were a little higher last year, a lot of wet, heavy snows last year at the beginning of the year, and then obviously we set a record last year with snow in May from our record since about 1985.
And we actually had to send trucks out on May, is that correct?
Yes, yep. I think between the 2 days it was almost 8 inches of snow, but it was so wet it kind of compacted. But yeah, we did have to plow in May, so that's what we consider an event, is when we have to go out Obviously, if we get half an inch and it melts kind of like a couple weeks ago, we don't consider those events even though there was snow.
So any predictions for this season?
We're hoping it's about average. That's how we budget, and that's what we're geared up for, but we'll kind of handle anything that comes our way.
We do have a sort of a policy or a philosophy on using salt. I know that there's an environmental impact to using large amounts of salt.
Yes, we've changed kind of our approach over the years. Now you'll see us probably pre-treating more, which is using the brine the day before. It's less salt and it's more effective because you're stopping the bond between the snow and the pavement. So we'll continue that, but the conditions have to be right. You can't have rain turning to snow, and temperature is also important to that. And then we also regulate how much we're trying to put down, trying to just keep it on the major routes and intersections, hills, focusing on places to keep it safe.
And I also noticed that in the last couple of years we've done more efforts to let people know about those pre-treatments. So we talk about when snow's coming, what we're doing to prepare for it, and the response has been very positive.
Yeah, we've definitely tried to increase what we're doing ahead of time, what we're doing during the event, and that will definitely continue this year to let people know. We'll let people know. Obviously, when we have a bigger event, we have 17 contractors that come in with tractors. So we'll try to let people know the timing. It takes them about 8 hours. They do mostly the residentials, cul-de-sacs, things like that. So we'll let people know so they can kind of think about timing. Obviously, it all depends on where they start and where they finish.
Well, let's hope for an average snow season this year and a lot of safe driving.
Thank you, Susan.
Well, if you're looking for some holiday gift ideas this season, don't forget that the Furman Aquatic Center will offer again discounted season passes. You can get more information on that on our website at cityofames.org. Also remember to get the latest and most up-to-date City of Ames information at our website, but also on social media, cityofames.org on Facebook and on Twitter. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for This Week in Ames.